In 2028, the government announces that the planet's energy reserves will be fully depleted within 5 years. To address this crisis, the decision is made to test the Shepard particle accelerator on the orbiting Cloverfield station. If successful, it could provide Earth with limitless energy. British engineer Ava is hesitant to leave her husband Michael behind, especially after the recent loss of their children in a fire, and they should be working on their relationship. However, Michael persuades her to join the Shepard mission, even though it may take years, arguing that the world's survival depends on it. Ava joins an international crew led by American Commander Jason and includes German physicist Ernst, Brazilian Dr. Monk, Irish engineer Gordon, Russian engineer Sasha, and Chinese engineer Ling. The team works well together, but despite their efforts, they are unable to activate Shepard and spend the next 2 years trying. Ava stays in contact with Michael through video calls, during which he updates her on the worsening global situation. To cope, Ava sometimes watches old videos of her children. The atmosphere on the station becomes strained as they are down to only 3 more attempts, and the odds of success seem slim. The news from Earth is equally bleak, with oil wars and conspiracy theories suggesting that Shepard might open portals to parallel universes, potentially unleashing monsters on Earth. The tension among the crew leads to frequent arguments, which occasionally escalate into physical altercations that Jason has to break up. However, the team regains their focus for the 47th test. After meticulous calculations, they manage to fire a beam, but it overloads and causes an explosion.
We have positive energy.
The station shakes violently, power fails, and a fire breaks out around Shepard. Ernst extinguishes the fire by opening the ventilation system into space, but restoring power proves difficult as the system has been scrambled. They eventually restore power using the backup system, but the main power is damaged beyond repair. Oxygen reserves are critically low, and despite Ava's repeated attempts to contact Earth, there is no response. When the engineers inspect the communication system, they make a startling discovery. Earth has vanished. The crew's initial theory is that Shepard flung them across the galaxy, and Ava checks her personal communicator, devastated to find she cannot reach Michael. This grim revelation triggers another round of accusations and arguments. Jason retreats to cry in private but regains composure and orders the crew to focus on survival. He assigns each member tasks to repair the station. While checking the navigation gyroscope with Sasha, Ava discovers that it has disappeared. More strange occurrences follow. Sasha complains of an irritating sensation under his skin, and strange groaning noises come from behind one of the walls. Another heated debate erupts over whether to open the wall, fearing they might release something dangerous, but they have no choice. When they remove the panel, they are shocked to find a woman named Mina entangled in the wires. Although none of the crew recognize her, she speaks Ava's name. They free Mina and take her to the infirmary, where Monk sedates her to treat her injuries. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Michael wakes up to his house shaking and sees explosions outside. When he checks his phone, he finds messages from people panicking about a potential European invasion reaching the U.S. Searching the news, Michael learns that while the government denies the use of nuclear weapons, they remain tight-lipped about the cause of the explosions. He calls the hospital where he works and is shocked by the real details of what's happening. Back on the station, tensions flare again, and the crew continues to argue. The gyro is still missing, the system remains scrambled, and a mysterious woman has appeared inside the walls, leaving everyone feeling completely disoriented. Jason urges everyone to return to work on the repairs, which are still the main priority. However, Ernst pulls Ling aside and asks her to meet him on the X-deck in 10 minutes to discuss how they can regain control, as he's had enough of Jason's orders. Sasha overhears this exchange. While trying to repair Shepard, Ernst loses his temper and shouts at Ling, but she quickly puts him in his place, reminding him they need to work as a team. Meanwhile, Strange things are happening all over the station. In the rec room, the foosball table seems to be moving by itself. In the greenhouse, Gordon notices that all the worms have vanished. Sasha, increasingly obsessed with his skin, keeps staring at his reflection, convinced there's something crawling under his face. Suddenly, his left eye twitches unnaturally, and he begins talking to himself in a disturbing tone. He then heads to the 3D printer, creates a gun, and confronts Ernst and Ling, accusing them of being part of a secret conspiracy. In the middle of his rant, Sasha starts coughing violently, vomits, and collapses as his body convulses in a seizure. Ling quickly confiscates the gun while the crew rushes to bring Sasha to Monk. Before the doctor can help, Sasha vomits up the missing worms and dies. Terrified, Ava retreats to her room to avoid a mental breakdown, but comes back out when she hears that Mina has awakened. Jason is suspicious of this woman, but Ava approaches her cautiously and asks what she's doing here. Mina, confused, wonders the same about Ava, explaining that she's been on the station for 2 years and knows everyone, except Ling. Ava informs her that Ling is the Shepherd engineer, but Mina claims that's her job, and Ava should be on Earth. Mina insists that Ava had been the team's civilian coordinator and that they were friends, but Ava has no memory of her. Frustrated, Mina embraces Ava and whispers a warning. Ernst is the one who sabotaged the ship. When Jason hears this, he checks the system and uncovers emails proving Ernst is a spy. Enraged, Jason hunts down Ernst, beats him, and locks him up, although Ernst maintains his innocence. Back on Earth, reports of massive citywide destruction emerge. Michael, driving to the hospital, tries to contact his wife through the base, but learns communication with the station has been lost. Suddenly, he halts his car when he sees a massive shadow moving away from a demolished house where young Molly is screaming for help. He rescues her and, unable to go to the hospital after receiving word that it too has been destroyed, takes her to a friend's shelter to wait out the chaos. Meanwhile, back on the station, Gordon works on the repairs when a strange hole suddenly forms in the wall and pulls in his arm. The hole moves, dragging Gordon along with it. Jason and Ava hear his screams and manage to pull him free, but to everyone's shock, Gordon has lost his arm. Monk examines the injury but finds no clues, and Gordon insists it doesn't hurt. Events grow stranger when the door to Ernst's locked room opens on its own. Ernst walks out and calls the crew to witness something in the corridor. Gordon's severed arm is crawling across the floor. Gordon swears he isn't controlling it, so the crew captures the arm under a glass box. Ernst declares this is proof that the conspiracy theorists were right. The Cloverfield Paradox is real, and 2 realities from different universes are colliding, causing chaos. The arm begins writing a message, instructing the crew to check inside Sasha's body. Following the arm's guidance, they open Sasha's body and find the missing gyroscope inside his stomach. They quickly reinstall the gyroscope, resolving the scrambling issue and discovering that the station had been inverted during the explosion. Once they resolve the technical issues, they finally locate Earth again. While they can't send messages yet, they are able to receive signals from the planet. The news clips shown on the screen are bizarre as well. They discuss a 14-month-long global war that started after the Cloverfield station was destroyed and crashed into the ocean. Ernst quickly understands what's happening. It's not 2 separate realities fighting. The crew and station have jumped into a different universe where the original crew has died, except for Mina. Ernst wants to repair Shepherd and activate it again to return to their own world, but Monk and Gordon believe they should assist the people of this Earth. Ling, however, disagrees, arguing that it's too late for this planet and they should focus on preventing the war on their own. Ernst ends the debate by stating that their only option is to leave because the longer they remain, the stranger the effects they'll experience. Later, when Monk checks in on Mina, she explains that her station also failed when Shepherd overloaded. and she recognizes that they are a crew from an alternate dimension. Ernst and Ling suspect condensation caused the overload, so Ling heads to fix the ventilation to resolve the issue. Ernst confirms it works, but Ling is trapped as the door locks on its own and water starts flooding in through the vents. Ernst, Ava, and Jason rush to help, but they're unable to unlock the door, nor can they open it by force. Eventually, the water pressure bursts the outer door open, and Ling is killed as she is sucked into space. After mourning her loss, Ernst insists on resuming the repairs, as Ling's death proves how dangerous staying here is. However, they can't complete the repairs without her, so Ava suggests that Mina, who is the Ling of this dimension, should have the same expertise. Jason remains distrustful of her, but they have no other choice. Meanwhile, on Earth, Michael suspects that the paradox Ava warned him about is responsible for all of this. He contacts a friend in law enforcement to help locate Molly's parents, when suddenly the shelter begins shaking and a monstrous roar is heard outside. Back on the station, Mina is finally cleared to leave the infirmary, agreeing to help, but only if she gets all of Ernst's research to assist her Earth. Ernst objects, but Jason reminds him that they'll be leaving this dimension and the Ernst from this world is dead, so he agrees to the deal. Mina will need a lot of power to fix the final part of the Shepherd, so the crew starts working on that while Ava takes Mina to her new quarters. During this, Ava asks why her counterpart in this universe stayed on Earth. Mina shows her a recording revealing that in this world, Ava's children are alive, and she remained with them. The crew, meanwhile, tries to figure out how to generate enough power to activate Shepherd and considers temporarily shutting off the oxygen. They estimate they'll have 2 hours of breathable air, and once they return to their universe, the functioning Shepherd should restore the oxygen supply. Ava interrupts their planning to ask Jason for permission to use a pod to visit Earth and see her children. Jason reminds her that this is against protocol and warns that she may run into her alternate self, but Ava insists she needs to warn her family about the fire that killed them in her reality. Jason hesitantly agrees. The crew proceeds with their plan, and Gordon goes to shut down the oxygen tanks. The plan seems to be working, and Shepherd starts to power up, but Gordon notices strange magnetic anomalies pulling his tools away. The metallic sand he used to fix the wall also reacts, trapping him before the magnetic field causes the oxygen tanks to explode, destroying a large portion of the Shepherd. Mina informs the crew that the maintenance deck becomes more unstable with each rotation, so they must decouple it to survive. As Ava, Jason, and Monk suit up for the mission, Ernst reminds Mina that he's not the same man who betrayed her, though she remains distant. The trio heads outside to approach the maintenance ring, but they find it stuck, meaning they'll need to jettison it. Ava and Monk return to try and find a way to do this remotely, but Jason realizes it can only be done with the door closed, so he stays behind to manually lock it. After saying a final goodbye to Ava, Jason jettisons the ring, sacrificing himself to save the crew. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Michael is watching old videos of Ava when he receives a message confirming that Molly's parents have been contacted. This motivates Michael to record a video saying goodbye to Ava in case he's no longer alive when she returns. At the station, Ernst confirms they have only 43 minutes of oxygen remaining. Jason left Ava in charge, so she assigns everyone their next tasks, deciding to fire the Shepherd twice. First to overload it and attempt to send them back, then again to power the station. She also informs the group that Monk and Ernst can return, but she plans to leave with Mina for Earth on a pod. While Monk and Ernst focus on their work, Mina seizes the opportunity to steal the gun and takes Ava to the pod, knocking her out. She activates the pod, sending Ava off alone, while Mina goes after the others. Fortunately, Ava quickly wakes up and realizes what's happening, forcing her to decide whether to stay in the pod or return to save her team. Mina finds Monk first and shoots him to take the key for the Shepherd, as she intends to use it to save her planet. Ava decides to abort the pod and goes looking for Mina, but by the time she arrives, Monk is already dead. Mina then targets Ernst, though she doesn't fatally wound him, as she needs him to operate the Shepherd. She reveals her desire for revenge on behalf of her crew. Ava arrives and tries to intervene, with Mina reminding her that she can't have both the Shepherd and her family. Mina also declares she has no issue killing 3 to save billions. While they argue, Ernst grabs a tool and strikes Mina, giving Ava the chance to flee. A struggle ensues between Ernst and Mina over the gun, which accidentally discharges, leaving Ernst unconscious. Mina pursues Ava, attempting to manipulate her by playing recordings of her children. When Mina approaches close enough, Ava tackles her, engaging in a fight using nearby objects. In the struggle, Ava manages to fire the gun, blowing out a window. Mina is sucked into space, while Ava clings to the furniture until she can safely crawl out of the room and seal the door. Afterward, she brings Ernst to the infirmary and tends to his injuries. With only the 2 of them left, Ava realizes she can't return to Earth, so she sends a message to her past self, warning about the fire and emphasizing the importance of family. Ernst and Ava then overload the Shepherd, allowing the beam to transport them between dimensions once again. The duo spots Earth and contacts the base, confirming the Shepherd is functioning and securing permission to return. After the Shepherd is activated a second time to generate energy, Ernst and Ava board a pod to head home. Michael receives a message from the base confirming Ava's safety and their impending reunion. However, Michael panics and begs the higher-ups to stop her from coming. As the pod nears Earth, a massive monster emerges from the clouds with a deafening roar.